Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to part 2 of my introduction to Imam Hussain and his life. So now we're up to the Battle of Siffin, which occurred during the Caliphate of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain had key roles in preparing and recruiting the army in the war against Muawiyah. They delivered impactful speeches to encourage participation in the war and also contributed in organizing and training the army. When Imam Ali alayhi salam left Kufa with his troops for the Battle of Siffin, he stopped at the land of Karbala. Imam Ali was deeply sorrowful and he cried. He informed Imam Hussain about his martyrdom on that land. Before the Battle of Siffin, when Muawiyah's troops blocked access to water for Imam Ali's troops, Imam Ali sent Imam Hussain with his troops and successfully regained access. Imam Ali said, "This first victory is due to the blessings of the presence of Imam Hussain." During the battle, Imam Ali appointed Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain as the leaders of the right side of his army, and they fought courageously. Imam Hussain was also appointed as one of his father's witnesses during the negotiation after the battle. Towards the end of Imam Ali's life, he was preparing an army to go against Muawiyah. He appointed Imam Hussain as the leader for 10,000 soldiers. Unfortunately, after Imam Ali's martyrdom, the army lost its unity. The martyrdom of Imam Ali alayhi salam. After Imam Ali was struck, he appointed Imam Hassan to take care of his personal affairs and introduced him as the next Imam to his followers. These followers were known as Shias. He also appointed Imam Hussain as the next Imam after Imam Hassan. Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain, and a few others buried Imam Ali secretly at night for fear of revenge and insults from his enemies. The progeny of the Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, had to face atrocities which Imam Hussain witnessed, such as the secret nighttime burials of his mother and father. During the caliphate of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, he was the 5th caliph. When Imam Hassan alayhi salam became caliph after Imam Ali, Imam Hussain paid allegiance to his brother. He was Imam Hassan's right hand during the short caliphate that lasted less than 7 months. Imam Hussain had a key role in the preparation of the army and was with his brother when they moved to Madain for the war against Muawiyah. When Imam Hassan had to accept the peace treaty with Muawiyah due to lack of support from his army, Imam Hussain obeyed his brother's decision and accepted the peace treaty. Imam Hussain refused a group of Shia followers who asked him to wage war against Muawiyah and notified them of his adherence to his brother's decision. After the peace treaty with Muawiyah, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain returned to Medina. The martyrdom of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. When Imam Hassan was poisoned, in his will to Imam Hussain, he requested to be buried near his grandfather, the Prophet. Imam Hassan did not want any bloodshed during his burial, and in case of any opposition, he requested to be buried near his grandmother, Fatima bint Asad, in the Baqi cemetery. On the first day as an Imam, Imam Hussain faced a challenge during the burial of his brother. Marwan ibn al-Hakam and his troops, with support from Aisha, one of the Prophet's wives, did not allow Imam Hassan's body to get close to the Prophet's tomb. In the conflict between the people and the troops, many arrows were fired towards Imam Hassan's body. Imam Hussain controlled the situation and directed the crowd towards the Baqi cemetery by reminding them of Imam Hassan's will. During the government of Muawiyah, the conflict during Imam Hassan's burial was a strong message to Imam Hussain from the Umayyads that in case of any opposition, he would be faced with their swords. During Muawiyah's time, Imam Hussein's life and activities were under intense pressure and surveillance by the government to the extent that even his supporters were sometimes prevented from meeting him freely. Due to this pressure, the number of narrations quoted from Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain during Muawiyah's time are fewer than those from other Shia imams. Imam Hussain continued his brother's policy regarding Muawiyah for around 10 years until Muawiyah's death. When the Imam's Shia followers from Kufa contacted him shortly after Imam Hassan's martyrdom and asked for his uprising against the injustices of Muawiyah, the Imam reminded them about his commitment to the peace treaty and asked them to wait until Muawiyah's death. If the Imam would have risen in Muawiyah's time, Muawiyah would have killed the Imam and accused him of violating the peace treaty. As a result, the Imam's death would have been misinterpreted by the Muslim community. The Imam's commitment to the peace treaty did not stop him from objecting to Muawiyah's crimes and violations against the treaty's conditions. In many situations, the Imam contacted Muawiyah and condemned his actions, such as the killings of the Shia leaders and the Prophet's companions, Hujr ibn Adi and Amr ibn Hamak. Imam Hussain was respected for being the closest living blood relative to the Prophet, and he was a symbol of piety in society. The Imam used all opportunities to guide the Muslims to the true Islamic teachings. He performed the Hajj 25 times on foot during his lifetime. His famous supplication of Arafah is narrated during this time. After years of being in power, Muawiyah decided to keep the government within the Umayyads by passing it to his only son, Yazid. For the first time since the Prophet's demise, Muawiyah intended to change the system of government from a caliphate to a monarchy. Muawiyah himself knew that Yazid lacked public popularity, as he did not even keep an Islamic outlook in life like himself. Yazid publicly drank alcohol, womanized, and indulged in sinful behavior. In order to get the allegiances for Yazid, Muawiyah poisoned and bribed Yazid's main rivals for the caliphate. Muawiyah martyred Imam Hussain, and he knew that appointing a successor was explicitly against their peace treaty. Muawiyah tried bribing some of the political leaders, commanded some to advocate for Yazid as a good leader, and removed those governors who failed to implement this mission. After years of planning, he finally succeeded in accumulating allegiances from people all around the Islamic territory. However, Imam Hussain refused to pledge allegiance. Muawiyah sent a letter to Imam Hussain, to which the Imam responded by condemning his actions to coerce allegiance for a successor, especially for someone like Yazid. Muawiyah then decided to personally visit Medina and made a public speech in which he spoke highly of Yazid to encourage the people to pledge allegiance to him. Imam Hussain interrupted the speech and disqualified Yazid, rejecting allegiance to someone of his character. Thus, Imam Hussain remained Yazid's primary opposition. Stay tuned for part 3 for the rest of the story of Imam Hussein's life, alayhi salam, inshallah.